All systems ready.
Hey guys, it's the Master Rules Lawyer coming back at you again with another spell ranking for D&D 5e. Uh, Currently, we're just going through the cantrips, and we'll make our way through the first level spells and beyond. And today we're looking at Green Flame Blade. Now, as of right now, obviously, a lot of spells in the game are going through an overhaul, and that's going to happen with the new PHB that is going to be released next month. So, some of these spells that I'm going over that are previously gone over may have changed, and if so, well, I'll go back and address the ones we've already gone through. But Green Flame Blade, as far as I'm aware, is not a spell that is being included in the PHB. So that said, we can safely go over it without having to backtrack and address the new spell. So let's go ahead and dive right in with Green Flame Blade. How we're going to rank these is the worst is going to be um, D rank, and we'll go on up to C, B, A, and then S would be the top tier spells that you're always going to want to take no matter what, pretty much. Very rare exceptions. Sometimes you'll even multi-class or take a feat to be able to pick it up. A tier is going to be the ones that usually you're going to want to take that are always going to be a solid choice. B tier are the ones that are more situational. They demand the right campaign or in the right build. It could be a really solid choice, but other times it might not be the best. C tier are going to be the ones that aren't going to usually be the strongest choice, but in the rare instances that they come up could be cool. D tier are going to be the ones that are pretty much just the traps that are just garbage. Always want to take something else, pretty much, because there's pretty much going to be some way to duplicate its effects some other way that isn't going to take up a cantrip slot, like using item or generic items and or just generic skill checks, etc. So S tier or D tier is not what we're looking at today. Green Flame Blade is one of the better cantrips in my opinion. Of course, I'm always love the Gish kind of characters, so I've gotten to use it on many of my characters in the past. And so, well, let's see what we're looking at here. It's an evocation cantrip, casting time of 1 action, range of self, 5-foot radius, components of somatic and material, the material being a melee weapon worth at least 1 silver piece. The duration is instantaneous, and you brandish the weapon used in the spell's casting and make a melee attack with it against one creature within 5 feet of you. On a hit, the target suffers the weapon's attack's normal effects, and you can cause green fire to leap from the target to a different creature of your choice that you can see within 5 feet of it. The second creature takes fire damage equal to your spellcasting ability modifier. And then, of course, at higher levels, the initial damage for the creature that you're hitting with the attack that goes up by 1d8 at 11th level or 5th level, 11th level, and 17th. And then the extra damage that you do to the creature within 5 feet of it also goes up by 1d8 as well. So the creature that you're attacking is always going to be taking, say, if it's taking 2d8, the one next to it is taking 1d8, but then plus your spellcasting ability modifier. One thing that before I get into that, so the spell list that this appear on is for at least for 5e without the changes, since they completely changed how who gets what spells, how that works. But for 5e, it appears on the Artificer spell list, for the Sorcerer, the Warlock, and the Wizard. Now, one thing that I really want to focus on with this spell is somewhat DM dependent, depending on how literal you want to take that material component of at least one silver piece. Now, they did this so um, they put in that specification there. It didn't initially have it, but people were using like the component pouch, because the component pouch says, "Oh, it includes everything that you need as far as for your material components for your spells and such." Um, so, some people were being ridiculous and taking this as far to say, "Well, oh, well, this takes a melee weapon, so my component pouch has a melee weapon." Um, so they put in that value. Now, Jeremy Crawford has gone as far to specify that it wasn't the intent to keep this from interacting with um, spells like Shadow Blade. So, depending on your DM's interpretation of this, the spell can work with against spells like Shadow Blade. Um, and I'm not sure if that changes how that works further with the new changes in the PHB. Um, I guess I mean, obviously you can't do them both at the same time. I don't know if they've changed the wording. I know there's a whole bunch to do with you can only do one spell action or one magic action per turn, but if you are um, so I guess in the initial turn, it's not going to be possible with the new rules. So it's also going to depend on if you're running the new rules or the initial 5e rules. Um, but on a follow up turn, if this is the only spell you're casting, you've already got your Shadow Blade active. Um, if you're going by how Jeremy Crawford says that he would interpret it, um, or not restricted, you can go ahead and use Green Flame Blade with Shadow Blade and such to really dial up your damage. Others, other DMs might be more literal and say, nope, this has to be worth one silver piece. You can't sell a Shadow Blade at the shop. So no. So, but for my rankings purposes, I'm going to just be using 5e rules on spells and such. Not going to be going into the new stuff um, so much because for one, it's not official yet, and there's going to be a lot of DMs that may not like the way this new spell rules work. So um, I'm going to go with what I know for now. Might possibly to go back and do a revision of this. And I'm also going to be um, assuming that you are treating Green Flame Blade as it can be comboed with things like Shadow Blade. So, with those assumptions in mind, what do we think of Green Flame Blade? Well, as I said, I'm a big fan. It is a very good spell that on a character, any melee character that can cast it, I think you're picking it up. Um, and it is good enough that um, in those instances on a melee character, it can be good enough that it might be worth picking up a feat or multi-classing to pick that up along with Booming Blade. So it's I'm very tempted to give it S tier in that situation. However, um, it's not the situation where if I have a wizard or another spellcaster that is normally throwing just AoE spells, Eldritch Blast or what have you, from the distance, Green Flame Blade isn't going to be something that they're going to go out of their way to pick up. Um, Will it be a useful cantrip on them still? Maybe. I mean, they're a lot. It's a lot better than, you know, if you do get in melee range, you just bonk it with your staff or whatever. So I still think it's a solid pickup at that point. But I'm not sure I can go so far to give it S tier, or um, it's just something you always want to take because it's for non melee combatants. Um, it's not a must pick, but also it's not as far build dependent where I want to say, oh, you only want to take this with the right build, you only want to take this in the right campaign. So I don't think it's B tier either. So I think I have to give it an A ranking because it's somewhere kind of in the middle there. It's a little bit difficult to rank by those parameters. So me personally, being a player that almost always has this on their character, um, and just because that's the kind of character I like to build, um, whether it be like a paladin, sorcerer, multi-class, or a blade singer, or a warlock that like a hexblade, something along those lines. I think Green Flame Blade is one of those spells that is a must for those classes, and for other classes, that's still not a bad pickup. So yeah, I think A tier is solid. But what do you guys think? And what do you think as far as my, like I said, I'm assuming um, that it can be comboed with things like Shadow Blade. Um, do, is that something that you guys disagree with? Is that something at your table you'd be like, no, no, we're going to do this um, as written? It says worth at least one silver piece, so we're not going to allow that kind of tomfoolery. Where do you stand on that? And do you think with the new rules, does the stock of Green Flame Blade go down significantly, or is it pretty much the same? Would love to hear your thoughts on it. Do you think A tier is too high, not getting enough credit? Where do you guys fall on that? Would love to hear your thoughts. So if you guys want to drop a like and subscribe, certainly appreciate it. And otherwise, I'll hit you guys with another video soon, and you guys have a great one. See ya.